Alright, podcast number 6. Today's topic is, are you too comfortable with your workouts? So we're going to talk about being stagnant in your workouts and what you can do to fix that. Andrew, this is your idea, so you want to talk about what being stagnant is?
I think that, well, from personal experience, I think I've talked about it before on this and elsewhere, is basically just not going anywhere with your workouts, kind of just going with emotions a little bit, and really not seeing a whole heck of a lot of progress on the things I'm trying to get out of my workouts, which basically is to get stronger and not just look stronger.
Is that what led you away from your 5-3-1?
Yes, unfortunately. I think 3 years is enough to do basically the same program over and over and over again. It's just, but it was partly mental. It was way too easy to do at some point, and I wasn't pushing myself nearly hard enough when I needed to, and just filling in the gaps with a bunch of crap I didn't need to do if I was going to actually make any progress.
You just need to lift more.
Thank you, Jim.
I don't know. I guess there's a good distinction too between, following a program to its full extent or hopping programs every month, like some people do too. Just because you're.
T-Nation.
Yeah,
Want to expand on that, Nick?
Something you want to get off your chest?
That's one example, but yeah, there's Cut and Jack, there's Cut and Shredded, there's bodybuilding.com, there's T-Nation, if you spend your time reading these programs on these websites, like, you're going to have a new program like every 3 days that you want to try. You're going to be trying, you're going to make a list and you're going to be doing it till you're 90 because you haven't gotten all the way through it.
with those, the number of protocols they have for addressing weaknesses that they pump out like weekly, let alone monthly. You'd be in the gym like 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, just to tackle everything they say you should be tackling. Whether it's like a bajillion behind the neck presses or squatting for 300 days straight. And then the 20 deadlift variabilities between the plasma sips that you have to take intra-workout.
Can't forget all the subs. Yeah, so there's definitely a difference between, I don't know, you got to realize what your weaknesses are and address them as they come. It's not something you need to do on a weekly basis.
That's a little bit off topic, but it's part of the focus thing. If you don't have the mental focus on what you're doing and whatever your goals are, then that's going to lead to the stagnation as much as chug.
Jesus Christ. Hail hydrate.
Oh, man.
Anyway, I was just saying, whether you're going to program hop every 2 weeks because T-Nation tells you to, between the bajillion supplements that try and get you to buy, or you just stick into the same thing over and over again for the sake of habit rather than because you're actually getting anything out of it, that's classic stagnation right there.
I think another thing would be, like, I know a couple of people who have tried, I don't know, whatever Gethin's thing is. I'm trying to think of the name of it.
I don't know it. I mean, I know the name, but I don't know.
He's got that program that's just like, it's an obscene number of reps for just fucking everything.
So, like German volume training sort of thing?
No, it's to a whole another
DTP.
level. Like, are you doing like 1,000 reps of everything?
So, I don't know.
Jesus
It's something I've seen like that, but it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
he calls it DTP, but I'm like, you're not even in a rut yet, and you're setting yourself up for failure because this is meant for someone with a recovery time who's well assisted with things. And you're going to come in and you're going to do, I don't know, whatever it is, 300 reps of like lateral raises or some freaking asinine thing. And then you're going to wonder, like 2 months later, why your shoulders aren't growing.
That would be boring. I mean, holy shit.
It's a lot harder. I mean, to some degree, it's a lot harder. Like some of Betsy's old stuff had me doing like 100 lateral raises as a warm up, but it's like it's a set structure of your choice. So it's like I would do like 10 and 10 or something like that. But it's really hard to get through just because you're just like it is boring. You want to get it done, but on top of it, it's not a very big muscle group and it gets tired really fast.
Well, when I think of like the high rep stuff, like I remember reading an article by Paul Carter on growing your traps, and he has this one plate raise over your head, and he's like, do like 100 reps. It's like 100 reps. I don't have time for that shit.
Yeah, so hold 2 plates together and do 30.
So doing like 300 of like I don't think I could do it. I don't have the mental fortitude for that.
Oh hey, flood morning.
All right. Well, all right. Let's talk about how to realize if you're in a rut. I guess. For me, I would suppose the no progress, or there might be something that you find out. You do something else that's out of your norm, and you realize how lacking you are in other areas because of it. Because I know today, a friend invited me. Her gym was doing it's a fundraiser event for a bike race in town that raises money for cancer research. But it was a boot camp style class for like plyometrics and shit like that. With like the first half an hour, I was ready to puke, which kind of made me realize, hey, maybe I've been doing the same thing for way too long, and I need to add some new stuff to my workout.
I don't know what you're talking about. That sounds a lot like cardio, and we know what my opinion on cardio is.
Hey, I can run a half marathon, but a half an hour of this shit was kicking my ass.
Well, the numbers don't lie. That's the easiest way to tell that you're in a rut. But I would say that even when I was doing what I guess in a rut on Wentler, I was still making like hypertrophy progress, but I just wasn't making progress where it mattered. So I would fill in the blanks of where I was dissatisfied with my program with more hypertrophy because I was actually seeing progress there. But that's not my main goal. And Nick is holding onto his chair for your life.
I almost tipped over.
But I haven't had any regression. But I have heard of people that have regressed after they've changed something up, or they've stuck with something for too long and they can't hit the same shit they're used to because they're not into it anymore.
Well, I mean, how do you tell when your average gym goer is not going to be like your elite athlete who might add 5-10 pounds to a lift over the course of many months? Like, how do you decide when your progress is too slow?
I have my issue has always been like if I do something for too long, sooner or later I'll stop looking at my phone, or I'll stop bringing like the sheet of paper with me, and I'll wind up in the gym with literally just no plan whatsoever, just digging off for like an hour and a half, just because I'm so sick of what I'm doing, which is usually a pretty good indicator that I need to start doing something else.
I think even for the average person, though, you don't have to be a trained athlete to be putting yourself in a position of discomfort.
I'm always uncomfortable.
You make us uncomfortable too.
But I mean, the biggest thing is when I switched to trying to be serious here, guys.
First time for everything.
I know.
Super theory.
Super serious. So when I switched over to Candido, and I've kind of touched on this before, and just the amount of mental working up to the working reps that I had to do when I first started was crazy. And I realized at that point I'd forgotten all this time, even when I made progress, what that was like, to be like almost afraid of failing the work sets I was about to deal with. So I think that's a big qualitative one that even just a gym bro can take and go, yeah, I'm just feeling way too comfortable. It's like I'm like comforter in my bed instead of like actually putting some work in to make progress.
Makes sense to me.
Because just weren't ready for the little Gremlins training program. Sorry, he's just a weird looking dude.
Oh, Candido.
Yeah.
I don't know your people.
He kind of has that wide-eyed surprise look all the time.
Like fetal alcohol syndrome, or
No.
All right. So if we're in a rut, what would you guys do to, get out of it? What would you change? Where would you look for programs? What would you do?
I started going to physical therapy.
Look to
Not a bad
where.
option.
No, I mean, like I hired 2 trainers. The one doesn't help me so much with the advancement thing, but I spent the last 5 years lifting in a manner that was priority was avoiding irritating any of the injuries that I had. So I have a lot of really bad muscular imbalances, and I ended up having to hire a trainer because I basically, like, from the actual from the correct standpoint, I guess I don't actually know how to work out anymore. Like I can go and squat 500 pounds or whatever, but it turns out that I'm basically doing it entirely wrong for the last 4 or 5 years.
Kind of impressive that you got up that high then.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot in the last 3 months.
All right, Matt, what were you gonna say?
You asked, what do you do to break yourself out of a rut? Especially for the average gym goer, what do you do? What do you use? And in my case, at least, it's look around until you find something that works, something that's verified to work for a number of people. In my case, I'm going to start Wendler tomorrow, actually. Yeah, I thought that'd make you happy. Yeah. So I've spent the weekend kind of running my numbers and getting everything down on paper, and so it's completely changing everything that I've been doing and following somebody's program that I have it on good authority that it works. I hope it's good authority.
You know to yell at if it doesn't.
I really does. I hope it goes well for you, honestly. It's like I started it based on Andrew's recommendation, and it kind of coincided with about the same time I hired the trainers and the therapy and the chiropractor, so I basically advanced it all in that program. Whenever I actually do it, I just repeat the first week over and over and over again.
You're kind of a special case though, where you're breaking down your forms and things, and you're learning to lift a whole new way. So you're just weird.
It's a whole new world.
Well,
I don't know the rest of the lyrics.
I would say that what worked for me to be able to run when they're so long was because I kept changing up, not every week, but with some regularity, the accessory work that I would do, even the frequency that I would do this, the number of exercises in a week. I'd even throw in like the start of the next cycle at the end of the week just to go crazy. Or even like when I ran beyond 531 for about 4 or 5 months. it was still the same program, the same structure, but the changes I kept making were addressing stuff like weaknesses and boredom and other things that helped me stick with that main structure for as long as I did.
I do really like that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And then I did have to eventually change. I think it just held off the need to change by aggressively working through different accessory templates rather than just changing up the workout itself. And then
I do really like that the Black Iron Beast website that you told me about. That kind of, you can choose different options and it comes up with a whole set of different accessories depending on what you want.
It does all the work for you. It
Yeah.
only has the most popular templates on it, but it
There's
really
like 20 of them though.
oh yeah, but they're in the books. There's like 100, so it really is the most popular options that most people are going to run and that most people are going to make the use of, because a lot of the other templates on it are actually more like stints. So like you do a 6 or 8 week peak or accessory stint, and then you go back to one of the regular templates, or they're just weird variations. So they're not all that popular, but that's kind of the point of the program, is to be able to plug and play just about anything you want as long as you keep the main structure of the 531 system.
I like it.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
I'm hoping to be able to start it here eventually. I just got to take care of some injury crap first and get off my ass and make some doctor's
That's what
appointments.
cardio does for you.
When
Seriously, throw me up.
when old Matty Poo does at least a couple of cycles, we'll do an actual Wendler podcast, because then it's not just me talking.
There you go.
For an hour.
Yeah, for an hour.
And drinking water.
I know people want to look at my pretty face all the time, but I do want to give you guys the limelight too.
I'd say, I mean, I know I've said it before, but like I started the therapy thing, and a lot of this stuff is because of like, just one of the examples is my bench press max hasn't actually moved in almost a decade. I've been stuck at like 405 since right about the time I started college. And the therapist is actually the first person who's looked at my shoulder and said that this is fixable without surgery.
Hopefully it is.
Oh, he's entirely confident that it is. He's basically saying that the see if I can do this. So your shoulder is like this, and he's saying that mine is like this. And that's why everything pops and flips and shit.
So he just moves it back over, and then you'll be benching
Yeah,
500 in no time.
I don't know. Honestly, if I can put 50 pounds on my bench before I fucking die, I'll be happy at this point. But he's basically saying that the reason the chiropractor hasn't been really making much progress is because he'll adjust everything, and then 2 or 3 days later, you know, my muscles pull all my bones back into the original position to begin with. So I'm back to where I started every 3 days, basically.
I guess that kind of leads me to another point. Like you can change programs or whatever, but changing goals might be a decent option too. Where Nick's focused from what he was doing before to
I'm still
just getting healthy. I mean, you're still lifting and whatnot, but your focus is on relearning forms and getting your body to be in the right position.
Yeah.
But the same thing, like if you run a lot and you're starting to get stagnant and not seeing the changes you want, you know, add weightlifting, add yoga, add something. Like you can change things up and start to see progress in a different way.
It's also people's goals evolve over time, right? So people evolve, they change their minds. Odds are that you're not going to stick to the same thing over and over and over again for decade after decade after decade. So that doesn't mean that you're going to recognize right away that maybe you want to focus on something else, and that in itself could be the stagnating factors that your heart's not in it anymore. So you got to find what's going to get you grooving again, whether that's something as simple as switching from powerlifting to weightlifting, or switching to bodybuilding, or even CrossFit or whatever, or Zumba. If all of a sudden you've discovered you're in a salsa dancer and that's all you want to do the rest of your life, great. whatever. As long as it gets you out and about.
Yeah, what if I actually want to try that?
All right. Well, you guys have anything else to add on this topic? We kind of ran through it pretty quick. I'll take that as a no.
Well, I mean,
There's a
like,
joke here. I know there is,
No,
but there's all guys,
no,
and we ran
there's-
through it too quickly.
sorry, I was just reading his breakdown of it. The one thing I guess I'd add is, like Andrew was saying, that your goals change over time, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to hit all of your goals to decide you want to do something different. Like if I walked into the gym, like the first day I worked out, way back when I was like wearing trip pants in high school, and I was like, I'm gonna bench 450. It's been like 13 years and I still haven't done it. So you don't necessarily have to hit 100% of the stuff that you want to do to change whatever you're doing if it doesn't make you pleased with what's going on.
I guess the only other thing I'd add is that just make sure you're tracking your workouts appropriately, because if you're maybe not being as careful with what you're tracking, you might actually be making progress. Because even though I knew I was stagnating, my progress, like I'm not super trained yet, but my progress has been slowing down substantially, even when I have made progress. So I've had to focus more on
You all right there?
doing. Well, he's just perfectly fine. He won't die.
We hope.
I don't care if he does. But,
Harsh.
Ouch. Anyways,
quit
so
rubbing his food porn in my face.
I'm more focused on stuff like I was really excited, for instance, so that my biggest squat progress lately was doing a double of 355. I've done it twice now, and that's like super exciting. That's not even my max, but the fact that I've done it twice, or deadlifted 475 for 3. Never done that before. Never done a triple at 475.
Sorry.
Shut up, Nick.
No, I mean, just Cherokee's gonna be pissed.
Oh yeah, of course he is. He already knows though, so
Oh, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure you told him or not.
I did. Of course I was gonna tell him.
Called him from the gym, I'm sure.
Hey Cherokee, hear that clang? That's a triple. But anyways, I have to focus more on hitting new rep maxes and not so much single rep PRs, because the single rep ones will come now. But if I'm chasing those all the time, then I'm just gonna get really frustrated. So I gotta focus on hitting more 3s and 5s and even doubles in some cases as being breakthroughs in my progress.
All right. Well, I guess we'll end that one here, and stay tuned for more amazing information from us. I don't know.
How about Wendler?
Yeah. Stay tuned for one.
Fuck yeah.
All right.